Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today we'll be swatching the new ILNP Trapped collection, which was curated around an alluring dark forest filled with temptation and risk. This collection features a variety of sparkly finishes like magnetics, shimmers, and flakies, so let's just get into the swatches. The first shade is Venom, which is a black jelly base with a vibrant moss green magnetic shimmer, as well as a scattered green micro flaky. So I'm really excited to see ILNP introduce a few more magnetics with this collection. And personally, I love swatching magnetics while holding the bar underneath my nail because I'm just a little clumsy, and hovering it over my nail, I tend to ding it more often than not and have to redo my swatch. So this is a lot easier, and it's just more fun to see the immediate reaction of the polish. But anyway, this had really great coverage on the first coat. As you saw, it might have looked opaque, but I could see through to my nail line in certain lighting because, again, this is a little bit of a jelly base, so you definitely would need a second coat. But I think this is such a great shade that really lives up to the name. It gives me dark Medusa vibes. The next shade is Nocturnal, a black jelly base with deep shimmering blue flakies and a fine scattered holographic sparkle. So the base on this one was a little bit more sheer and jelly compared to the last polish, though I also didn't do the best application, so it ended up looking a little bit more patchy than I think you normally would get it. But it's okay, I ended up getting it fully opaque on the second coat. I think mainly because it is a black jelly base, so it's just going to build up to full opacity a lot easier compared to a lighter jelly base. But you might need a third coat if your nails are longer, depending on the lighting. 2 coats look good for me here. I really love the blue shimmer and the holographic sparkle in this black jelly base. It looks just like a night sky. Next up, we have Hex, a black jelly base filled with fiery orange, gold, green, multichrome flakies, and a delicate holographic sparkle. So I would say that this base is actually way more of a jelly formula compared to the other polishes in this collection. I think the main thing that differentiates a jelly for me is how it pulls away from the tips of my nail. You'll see that I end up dabbing the free edge to kind of cover up those bald spots. But yeah, so this one didn't give me full coverage or anything on the first coat, but it gave me a ton of flakies, so I think you could get away with layering this over a black cream and it would still look really good. But I ended up getting full coverage in just 2 coats, and it might be hard to see, but those flakies are just so glowy. I love that you see orange as the primary shade because it's just such a beautiful contrast against the black, and it is so perfect for Halloween. The next shade is Hallucinate, a rich indigo base that's packed with a red to green multichrome shimmer. So this one definitely surprised me the most, but I guess it really is living up to its name because I was really confused looking at what I was applying on my nail versus what I was expecting in the bottle. But yeah, you can really tell the indigo base here is much brighter, but it does build up a little bit deeper with each coat you apply. I think this one did have really great coverage on the first coat, especially compared to the last 2 polishes that had the black jelly bases. But yeah, I got this opaque in 2 coats. You might need a third if your nails are longer, but I think it's fine. So this one is my favorite from the collection. I absolutely love wearing purples the closer we get to Halloween, and I'm such a sucker for that red shimmer. Speaking of reds, the next shade we have is Poison, which is the second magnetic in the collection. This features a deep blood red jelly base with a red magnetic shimmer and a scattered red micro flaky. So I don't think I got to mention it with my Venom swatch, but I really love the micro flakies added into these polishes because it adds so much sparkle outside of just the magnetic effect. I think it's such a beautiful detail. The formula on this one wasn't too bad either. It was a little sheer on the first coat, but it looked a lot better after the second coat. The base deepens up really nicely and is super dark, but still noticeably red. This is another one that might need 3 coats for full opacity, I was okay with doing the 2 coats, though I could see some lighter spots near the tip of my nail. It was still breathtaking though. This is just such a perfect vampy shade. And rounding out the collection is Lured, which features a black jelly base and vivid metallic blue flakies with a delicate holographic sparkle. So this polish was basically the same as some of the other black jelly polishes, where it definitely needs at least a second coat to get the base fully opaque. But since the flakies were so packed, I really think you could also just layer this over black and it would still look really good. It wouldn't look sparse or anything like that. I absolutely love the metallic blue flakies in this one. I think they're so enchanting against the black base, and it really reminds me of sirens luring me into the deep sea, which is honestly so terrifying to think about. But this one is still beautiful, and I appreciate that it's similar but still very different from Nocturnal. So here's a quick comparison of both of those. So moving on to comparisons, I'm starting with Nocturnal and showing it next to You Up, which is also from ILNP. You Up is a navy jelly base, while Nocturnal is a black jelly base, but they both end up looking very blue on the nail. I'm also going to be showing it next to Mooncat's The 13th Hour, which I thought would be much closer to a dupe since on paper they're basically the same as far as being a black jelly with blue shimmer, but they're not really close at all. So here on the nail, you can see the ILNP shades have that same holographic sparkle, and since they just have really dark bases, they look super similar, but Nocturnal obviously has more of that strong blue flash going throughout. And Mooncat's The 13th Hour almost pales in comparison. It's just not quite as eye-catching without those holographic sparkles, but let me know what you think. Next for Venom, I quickly want to show a bottle comparison next to Olive Grove from ILNP's last collection. I thought the gold shimmer would make them pretty similar, but they're not close at all. So as far as a dupe, I'm showing it next to Mooncat's Access Denied, which is a black jelly with a green shimmer, but you can tell right away the shade of green that's in here is very different. Not to mention that Mooncat's polish is not a magnetic, so here is what Venom would look like without the magnetic finish. It definitely still has a very dispersed green shimmer running throughout, so no dupes here. Next for Hallucinate, I'm going to be showing it next to Whatcha Polish Fantastic Jellyfish. This was actually a polish pickup exclusive from August, so it's not available anymore, and these aren't exactly dupes, but I would say this ILNP is a really great alternative in case you missed out on this polish pickup option, because the vibes are really similar with the indigo base and the red shimmer. The Whatcha base is obviously a lot brighter and definitely more purple leaning though. Lastly, for Poison, I'm going to be showing it next to ILNP Penny, which you can see is somewhat similar in the bottle since they both share that bright red color, but Penny has microflakies while Poison has more of a shimmer. And since Poison is a magnetic, I wanted to show it next to Reclaim the Flame from Mooncat's Hocus Pocus 2 collection, since it's the only other red jelly magnetic that I have. But these are super different, obviously not dupes. So I'm interested to hear in which one you like more, especially between the two magnetic red jellies, because honestly, I think I like the ILNP one a little more. So that wraps up my swatches and comparisons of the ILNP Trapped collection. As always, I would love to know what you think about this release because I personally really love it. I think they totally nailed the mystical and enchanting Halloween vibes, and I honestly am a fan of every shade, which I feel like rarely happens. There's always one polish that I would say is my least favorite, or you know, I might be a little bit more mean about it, but honestly, all of these are just so beautiful. I'm also really impressed with how well the names match the vibes of the polish. It's a small detail, definitely, but I just find it so satisfying. So as I mentioned before, Hallucinate is definitely my favorite, even though it was the most unexpected when it came to actually swatching it. I know that can be really off-putting to some people though, so you'll have to let me know if it was disappointing for you at all. And I am curious to try it with a third coat just to see if the base deepens up any more to kind of match what's in the bottle. But I'm also curious about layering some of these polishes over a black cream, like I mentioned while I was swatching them. I really do think some of them are super packed with either the flakies or the shimmers, and they would show up really well. So I'll probably be trying that over on my Instagram. So I have that linked below if you want to follow me there. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Of course, don't forget to let me know any and all thoughts that you have down below regarding this collection so we can chat about it. But I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!